Okay, hi everyone. We're gonna go ahead and get started now. So there's quite a lot of things that we gotta do today, and I realize that it is finals week. If you don't mind me asking, how are you guys doing on that? You guys tired? Yeah, I get it, but uh, don't worry. We'll just. Oh wow. Uh, Someone said I had 3 finals yesterday. That's rough, dude. Yeah. Don't worry. Well, we are in the home stretch right now, so as soon as soon as we finish this lab here, 15.9, as well as do those last couple homework problems, uh, that would be pretty much it for meeting times as for this class. So the way that I want to do this, I think we have to do the lab first, and then don't worry, this will be quick. And then after we do that, we'll we'll do questions 1 and 2 on the homework. So kindly go to this lab here, 15.9, number pattern. Okay. So this lab says write a recursive function called print num pattern to output the following number pattern. Given a positive integer, for example, say 12, subtract another positive integer, say 3, continually until it becomes 0 or a negative value is reached, and then continually add the second integer until the first integer is reached again. Now, so if we were, so here's the main function here. We have our int main. It declares numbers int num1 and int num2. We enter those in, and then we put that into num pattern. So if num1 was equal to 12, and num1 was equal to num2 was equal to 3, we would output 12, then 9, then 6, and 3, then 0, then 3, then 6, then 9, then 12, right? So if we had to write this function, but without recursion, I think the appropriate way to do it is to have 2 do while loops. So we have 1 while loop subtracting the number until we reach 0 or a negative. And then after we exit that do while loop, we enter the next do while loop, and then we'll continue adding that number again until the original number is reached. But there is a requirement here. It says that it wants us to do this using recursion. So in order to make this work, we have to do a little bit of brainstorming here. And I think the best way for me to show you how we're going to do this with recursion is if I made a little diagram to help you guys visualize
Oh yeah, Lord.
Yeah, what's up?
After maybe we do the homework, can you look at my my homework 3? Because I'm like almost done, but I want to make sure it works.
Okay.
Because since this is last day and last.
Yeah, we'll definitely do.
Okay.
No worries.
Thank you.
Okay. Let me. So I'm opening this up on my second monitor right now. All right. So so let me get this. So let's try to brainstorm this a little bit. Let's try to figure out how we're going to accomplish this using recursion. So at this point in time, assuming you already did the week 15 sections, you already know that recursion, in simplest terms, it simply occurs when a function calls itself, right? The purpose of this is to take a large function or a large problem and break it down into smaller problems. And now, one of the problems with recursion is that you need to know when to stop breaking it down, right? That's why in recursion, we have a base case, right? And a recursive condition. And if we reach the base case, then we can start returning, right? So I'm going to copy this over here. So we have these numbers, right? Where we have 12, 9, 6, 3, 0, 3, 6, 9, 12. So this is the way in which we're going to accomplish this using recursion. So what was the name of this function? Print num pattern, right? Yeah, it's called print num pattern, right? And it requires 2 arguments. So I'm going to do this. So if we do print num pattern and it requires 2 arguments, one is going to be num1, one is going to be num2, right? In the very first call, num1 will be 12 and num2 will be 3, right? And I'm actually going to do this. That's probably so how I'd like you to visualize this is that if we're trying to output this sequence of numbers, everything in the red here, let's do this a little bit. Everything in the red here, pretend that this is the process print num pattern 12, 3. Okay. So essentially what we have to do here is one thing you gotta notice is that we have 12 as the first number, 12 as the last, 9 as the second to first, 9 as the second to last. So the way I'd like you to visualize this is that these are actually like shells, right? So if this function, if this output is handled by print num pattern 12.3, then this, everything in the blue would be print num pattern 9, 3, right? So we can do this again. So maybe everything in here could be, everything in the yellow box could be print num pattern 6, 3, right? And then I have to use a different color for this. And then we have this here. And then lastly, we have this. So this is, so if you look at it this way, you can see the structure in which we need to define this function. First of all, it's actually quite easy. when we break it down into its conditioned parts. So it looks like the purpose of print num pattern 12.3 is to output 12, call num pattern 9.3, and then output 12 again, right? Print num pattern 9.3, its purpose is to output 9, call itself again, but subtract the num1 with 3, and then output 9 again, right? When print num pattern 6.3 is called, it'll output 6, call itself again, and then output 6 again. Then when it calls itself again, it'll output 3 again. But we would stop when we reach the 0, right? So it looks like 0 is the base case, right? So this is good. We have a base case and a continuing a recursive call, right? So with that, I think we're ready to write this program now. Maybe I'll put this to the side here. I'm gonna leave this diagram over here so that you guys can see it well. So it's about time that we can start writing this function, all right? So we have to write a function called print num pattern, right? I'll post it here. So with that, we need to put a data type in front of our print num pattern. What kind of data type do you think this is going to be?
Or class function? Or void?
Void, exactly. Well done. Yeah, exactly as Valerie Moore says. This is going to be a void function, right? And it's also going to take 2 arguments, right? It's going to take an int, which we will call num1, and another int, which we will call num2. Okay. Okay. So now we can start. Now we can start writing our recursive function. So this recursive function is actually quite easy. Let's start with the base case first. So this one says that if we reach 0 or a negative value is reached, we will simply output what number 1 is equal to. So let's call this our base case. If num1 is equal to 0 or if it's negative, right? So maybe I'll say num1 if you're less than or equal to 0. This is what we'll do. We would simply see out the number 0, right? Or, well, it doesn't have to be 0. It could be a negative number. So we will simply see out whatever value num1 is equal to, along with a space, right? And then lastly, we would return, because we don't want to do the recursive call again if we reach the base case, right? So once we return, all the code that follows it will be ignored, right? But what if we're not at the base case, right? I'll rewrite this comment actually. If we right? But what if we didn't reach the base case yet? That means we still have a function that's calling itself, right? In that case, it's actually quite simple. You see, for print num pattern 12, we say 12, and then we do the function again with a 3 subtracted from num1. For num pattern 3, for number pattern 9.3, you see we output 9 and then call itself and then output 9 again. So the pattern that we're detecting from here is that we should first see out whatever num1 is, space, and then after that we will call the function again, except num1 is going to be subtracted by num2. So we're going to say print num pattern. But instead of saying num1, num2, we say num1 minus num2, and then num2, right? So after you've done this and done this, the last thing you gotta do is see out your num1 again, right? So I will copy this line and put it right after this. So this is the code if we haven't reached the base. So does this make sense? So imagine num1 was 12, num2 is 3. Right now, num1 is 12. Is 12 less than 0 or equal to 0? No, it's not, so we skip this. Then we call this function. We'll see out. We'll see out 12. Call the function again, but subtract num2 from num1, and then we'll see out 12 again. What does
I have a question. Is the comma with num2 supposed to be there?
What line are you referring to?
17.
This?
Yes.
Yes, this needs to be.
Okay.
So what does print num pattern 9.3 do? It'll output 9, call itself again, but with 6, and then output 9 again. So that's exactly what we'll do. Then we got num pattern 3.3, which will output 3, and then call itself. This time num1 is 0, and then say 3 again. And then when we do print num pattern 0.3, we've reached the base case. So we'll just see out num1, which at this point is 0, and then return. Okay. So we can actually try this now. Let's see.
Is it because we didn't put num2? Like,
you made
make
V
it
capital, it should be lowercase.
Oh, which line?
Line 6.
6. Oh yeah, you're right. This needs to be lowercase. Thank you for catching that. Let's try this again. There we go. Any questions? I know that recursion can be a little difficult to wrap your head around, but
What does the base case look like again?
the base case looks like this. So we would
Oh, okay.
yeah. So
Can you look at mine really quick? Because it's acting weird.
sure. Let me stop. Try sharing. Okay. So it looks like. Oh, it looks like you put a minus sign instead of an equals on line 7. Could you scroll up? Yeah, line 7, you accidentally use a minus sign instead of an equals. Try it now. Okay. Expected initializer before if. Print num pattern is not declared in the scope. Could you scroll back up again? Okay. It looks like you're missing squiggly brackets after your print num pattern. So what on line 6, put in, yeah, like that. Yeah, and then put, oh no, you need to put everything in from lines 11 through 19 inside of the squiggly brackets you just made. Yeah. Yeah, grab all that and put that inside. Your program produces no outputs. Scroll up. Yeah, you're missing. Okay. Do you see that squiggly bracket on line 16? And that's supposed to be around line 12. So delete that. And put a closing squiggly bracket on line 12. Try it now. There you go. Okay. So I'm glad we got that out of the way. So the other things that we got to do, here. The other things that we got to do is well, we're officially done with the labs for this class. So congratulations. So I think the last order of business is to look at the homework, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in our last meeting, I actually did parts of homework 1 and or question 1, and I wanted to leave it to you guys to see if you could complete the rest, because the rest seemed pretty self-explanatory. Is anyone still needing help with question 1? We can finish it if you guys want.
I do.
Okay, perfect. So we could do this one of two ways. I could finish it on my screen, or we could share Ballymore's screen. Unless anybody else needs help in homework 1, and just in that case, I'll just share my screen. Does anyone else need help with question 1? Okay, no problem. I'll just share my screen, okay? Okay, so from before, we still needed to write the get perimeter, get area, resize in print functions, right? Actually, before I go any further, could anyone post the link to the homework again? Just so I have the requirements in front of me. Perfect. Thank you, Logan James Ashpo. Awesome. Okay. Provide a constructor. Okay. Member functions. Yeah. We're about to do that right now. Okay. So one of the requirements of this question is that we need to write a constructor that constructs a rectangle with a given width and height. That's actually this constructor here. I wanted to let you guys finish it, but in case you guys needed help still, this is actually what you needed to do. You would have to set width equal to A and then height equal to B. So I'll say that here: width equals A, height equals B. And there's your constructor, right? So we did this. Now we just got to do these, right? So the get perimeter function, let's define that right now. So this one's not too hard either. All you needed to do was copy this and write its definition over here. You need to get rid of the semicolon, put squiggly brackets, and you need to say the scope resolution operator right before it. There you go. Now we have to write our definition. So the get perimeter function, this simply needs to return a double that's equal to the perimeter of the rectangle. So maybe I will. So if we had a rectangle, right, like this, it has a. I'll make this a little bigger actually. It has a length and a width. In order to get the perimeter, the perimeter would simply be 2 times width plus length, right? So this is the value that we need to return. So I would simply say return 2 times width plus height, right? Width plus height. And then that's your get perimeter function. Does this make sense? You would also write the get area function in a similar fashion as well, right? So let's grab this, put you over here, get rid of the semicolon, put our scope resolution operator, squiggly brackets. So this function is supposed to return the area of the rectangle, right? How do you compute the area?
You add it, right?
Multiply, but yeah.
Multiply, yeah.
So the area would be equal to length times width. So that's easy enough. So we'll simply return. I keep saying length times width when it's actually width times height. My bad. So we'll return width times like that. And then there's that function right there. So last thing we got to do is do the resize function. And I only put this print function here as a to help us if we're debugging, but we'll do this one too. So to do the resize function, let's remind ourselves of what it's supposed to do. So a member function resize that resizes the rectangle by multiplying the width and the height by a given factor. And as you can see, this function accepts an argument called factor, right? Okay. So I'll take this and put it here. And I actually realized that this doesn't require a name. Let me get rid of that. Oh, my bad. I don't change this. I actually sorry about that. Don't change this. This is the definition for area. What I meant to do was take this, put it here, delete the semicolon, put our scope resolution operator again. Do that. Okay. And now this says that we have to take an argument, a double called factor, and we need to set width equal to width times factor and set height equal to height times factor. So we will say width equals width times factor, and then height equals height times factor. And then that should be it. We've done everything that the lab wants us to do. All that's left is that we need to test our code and see if it works. So that's actually the reason why I wanted to include a print function too. So let me copy this, put it here. I'll grab this here. So when I print the details of this rectangle, I simply want to see the width and the height, right? So maybe I'll say cout width is and then cout height like that. And the reason why these are errors is because apparently as always, if you're couting stuff, you need to include the IOStream library. So include IOStream. Still an error. Should I include IOStream in here in the rectangle.h as well? Will that do it? There we go. Okay. So this here is rectangle.h. This is rectangle.cpp. Why is this an error again? Oh, never mind. It'll probably fix itself when you run it. So the last thing we got to do is test our rectangle class and see if it works. So let's the error here says no default constructor exists for a rectangle. No. No. Cout and endl undefined. Do I need to include IOStream here too? Now this error says no default constructor for rectangle exists. I didn't even know that I need a default constructor, but I guess we'll write it. All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to write a default constructor for this. So I'm not going to repeat what's the difference between a default constructor and normal constructor. So I'm just going to write it. So this is default constructor. Say rectangle, open close parentheses, semicolon. And then lastly, we have to define it. And remember, a default constructor accepts no parameters. So copy that, put it here, say the scope resolution operator. Get rid of semicolon. So the purpose of the default constructor is to set width and height equal to some numbers, even if we don't specify what they are. So maybe we'll call width 0 and height 0. So this is my default constructor.
Lawrence, my computer's acting weird. It's suddenly going black screen and shaking. So I might have to restart my computer. So if I disappear.
Okay, that's fine. We'll still be here.
Yeah, I have no idea why Zoom does this because it'll make the scene, and then every time I try to go back to the screen, it just displays black.
Mm.
But it's like a new computer, so I have no idea what Zoom's doing to it.
Well, if it's a problem with your internet connection, then there's very little that a new computer can do.
Right.
Still trying to figure out why this cout's not working. I included IOStream. I include IOStream here too. Should I put the include IOStream outside the definition? Will this work? No? Why is it saying this is an error? I included IOStream. Oh, wait. I forgot to include using namespace standard. That's probably why. Now it'll work, right? Okay, it worked, but you actually didn't see it. That's why I had to do the print function. So we have a rectangle 1, right? We set its width equal to 5 and height equal to 6. Let's say rectangle 1 dots and call our print function that we wrote. So what this would do is it would say width is 5 and height is 6, right? Yep. So that's how it is before we resize it. So maybe I'll say cout after resize. Then we'll say rectangle 1.resize. We need to pass a double into this because that's what we defined. So let's try multiplying width and height by 3, right? And then print again. So I'm going to have a print function before the resize and then again after the resize, right? So let's try it now. There we go. So everything works. We had a rectangle. It's, well, I actually haven't tried everything yet. The ones I didn't try yet is get perimeter and get area. Maybe I should try that. So let's do this. After the print function, I'll say cout perimeter. And then I'll say rectangle 1.perimeter, right? Or get perimeter. Get perimeter. And as always, functions require open close parentheses. And then lastly, cout area. We'll do the same thing again, but instead of saying get perimeter, we'll say get area. Like that. These need to have n lines at the end of them. So we can have these 2 lines before the prints, before the resize, and we can actually, if we want to, we can call them again after the resize. So let's try this and see if it works. Okay, So before this rectangle 1's width was 5, its height was 6, its perimeter was 22, right? Because 5 plus 6 is 11, and then times 2 is 22. And then the area is 5 times 6, which is 30, right? After the resize, we resized it by a factor of 3. So width became 15 and height became 18. The perimeter changed and the area changed as well. So it looks like everything works now. So so this is what I have for the main.cpp. All of this tests to see if every function that we wrote works. You don't need to put 5 or 6 either. You can put your own dimensions as well. Our rectangle.h is all of this. It just lists every member that rectangle has.
Lawrence, can you look at mine really quick? Because there's like only 2 errors and I don't understand them.
Yeah, no problem. Go ahead and share. If it's the C out thing, we forgot to add using namespace standard in the rectangle H class. Yeah. Yeah, I actually can't believe that I forgot to include that. Okay. No matching function call to rectangle. Oh, so did you finish writing the default constructor for rectangle that H? So you have, okay. All right, so that is your rectangle.h. Can I see your rectangle.cpp? Scroll back up. Okay, so it looks like you're just missing the default constructor. Go back to rectangle.h. And on line 11, say rectangle with an uppercase R, open close parentheses, and then semicolon. Okay, that's good. And now go to your rectangle.cpp. And let's write the definition of the default constructor. So before line 5, say rectangle, colon, colon, rectangle. Open close parentheses. And then inside of squiggly brackets, say width equals 0, semicolon, and then height equals 0, semicolon. Okay, perfect. Try it now. And let's see what errors it gives us. Okay, it works now. Although it looks like you have to, change your print function a little bit because it's saying width 7 instead of width colon space 7. So yeah, right there on lines 41 and 42. After width, say colon space. Not that one, that's the variable. You want to change the string. Right there, yeah. Say colon space. And then run it again just to be sure. There you go. That's good. All right. And then go ahead and stop your share, because I think Brandon Vasquez wants to see
Okay.
my code again. So, this is what you need for rectangle.h, and this is what you need for rectangle.cpp. Okay. Brandon Vasquez, did you you got it? Okay, perfect. So, does anyone else need to see this code, or are we good? No one needs to see the main function again. No one needs to. All the code you need is on this screen here. Okay. So if everyone is good on question 1 now, we could move on to question 2. Lucky for us, Professor Amir actually got back to me, and he told me what kind of private members both of the classes needs.
Is there any header files for 2?
Yeah.
Oh wait, I just saw it.
Yeah. So the reason, if you recall from the last meeting, the reason why we couldn't start problem 2 is because it wasn't descriptive enough. We needed more information as to what private members needed to go into the classes and person in classes street address. And like I said before, Professor Amir quickly got back to me, and this is what he said. So the street address class has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 private variables: house number, street, city, state, and postal code, which is actually just a zip code. And then the first in class, it has a name and then a street address. Okay. So because this is this question requires us to make 2 classes. We might have to go over time for this, but if any of you need to leave to study for another final, that's perfectly fine, because I will be putting this recording up after. But I understand that this homework is due the day of our next meeting, and I don't want us to be cramming for time in our last meeting. So I think the responsible thing to do for me to do is to go over time and then do question 2. But as I said before, if any of you need to leave, that's perfectly fine, because you can just watch your recording after. Okay. So yeah, I'm very happy that we know what we have to do now. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna open a brand spanking new Visual Studio. Let's make a new project. This is gonna be problem 2 of homework 5. So maybe I'll call this 5 2 create. Jose Garcia says, I wish this problem had stated an address would include. Oh, Jose Garcia, did you actually try doing this, doing question 2 on your own without knowing that it needed those 4 things? Is that what happened? Oh, so, okay. So now you just have to rework it just a little bit in order to get it to work, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, I know what that's like. Okay, so Here's what I'm going to do. I will have a main.cpp. Right now, I'm just going to briefly start this, but don't put anything yet because I don't have any of those two classes to work with yet, right? So I'm going to say include IOStream using namespace standard into main. All right. So I'll leave this alone for now. Logan James Ashbaugh says, does person inherit street address or is it the other way around? To answer your question, no, there is no inheritance involved. What we have here is that person has a private member called street address. So one is a member of the other, but there is no inheritance. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the very next thing we got to do is make the header files and the CPP files for person and street address. Now, if you're using code blocks, you have to add those classes the way that you have to use that little wizard that we showed before in one of the previous recordings. Otherwise, you might run into problems. But since I'm using Visual Studio, this is what I would do. New item. We'll call you person.h. Person.h. And we'll call this one street address.h. And then here on the resource files, I need to add person.cpp and then street address.cpp. So because street address is going to become a member of person, obviously we need to write the class street address first. So I'll put street address.h and dock it over here. I'll put street address.cpp over here. Now, oops. I'll put this over here. Okay. To do this, we're gonna, if we're separating the header and the CPP files, we have to do the if and def and define thing that we've been doing before. So in this, under this, well, you don't need this pragma once if you're doing it in code blocks. I need it because I'm using Visual Studio, but underneath this, I'm going to say include IOStream using namespace standard, and then I'll say found if street address underscore h define street address underscore h. then and then my header needs to be in between these, right? So we already know how to declare a class. You simply say class and the name of the class that you want to define. In this case, it's going to be street address, right? Like that. And then classes have two sections, one called public and one called private. So I'll put public here, private here. Now let's remind ourselves what private variables this one requires. So street address needs an int house numbers, string street, string city, string state, and string postal code. I'm actually just going to copy this. So I'm going to take this and put it here. And those are my private variables. You need an int called house number, a string called street, a string called city, a string called state, and a string called postal code. Okay. Now, so in terms of public variables, I could write setter and getter functions for each of these variables, but I'm actually not gonna do that. If we have a single constructor for all 5 of those, then there's no need for us to have setter and getter functions for each of these, because writing setter and getter functions for each of these when we might not even be using them in the main.cpp, that's kind of a waste of time in my opinion. So let's just make a constructor that accepts all 5. So Visual Studio likes to yell at me when I have a constructor but not a default constructor. So I'll just write a default constructor first. So this is the default constructor. So a constructor, you just simply say the name of the class, open close parentheses, and like that. Let's do the let's start writing in our street address.cpp. So inside of this, obviously we need to include our street address.h, right? So say include in double quotes, say street address.h, like that. And then let's define our default constructor, right? So delete the semicolon. You need the scope resolution operator in front of this in order to say, hey, this function is a member of street address. So do that. So the default constructor, its purpose is to define these variables when no information is given. So maybe we'll say int equal, or we'll say so maybe we'll say house number equals 0 because it's an int. And because these are strings, I guess we'll set them all equal to empty string. So equals that. And there you go. That's my default constructor. Second, we need to say a parameter constructor that says all 5 variables. So so simply say the street address again, but inside of these parentheses, we need to say int, string, 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 and string. So I'll say int, string, 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 string. Like that, okay? So I'm gonna take this and write its definition now. Put it here, delete the semicolon, and put the scope resolution operator in front. We'll write its definition now. We have to give these variables names, so maybe I'll call this int I. And the first string, maybe I'll call you S1. I guess I'll call this string S2. You can name these variables anything you want, but I'm just naming it this way, so it's a little convenient. Okay, so now that I got that, I will set house number equal to I. I will set street equal to S1. City will be S2. State will be S3. And postal code will be S4. Like that, see? So like I said before, I'm not gonna write setter and getter functions for these if our main.cpp is not gonna use them. But what's one or, oh wait, Jose Garcia says, wouldn't the postal code be an int as well? Yeah, like the postal code is like it's a 5-digit int, right? But we decided to call the postal code a string just because functionality, it makes function wise it makes no difference, right? Like we can treat zip codes like strings, right? Okay. So for the purposes of this lab, I guess we're also going to need to make a print function as well, just so we can see the contents of a variable of type street address. So maybe I'll say print here. Let's define what print does. Oh, like always, functions need data types. This print function is going to be a void. Grab this, go over here. We need the scope resolution operator again. And then I guess we'll say house number is this, street is this, state is this, postal code is this, so on and so forth. So I'll say house number, and then we'll simply say house number. And line. I'm a little bit lazy, so I'm just gonna do something like this. Streets is gonna be streets. City is gonna be city. State is gonna be state. And then lastly, postal code is gonna be this. Save that. So far, this is all that we're gonna write for our street address class. I don't know if we need any other functions. We can add them if we find later that we need to add more. We could go to the main.cpp and test this if it works. So maybe I'll put this here. Actually, I'll do this. So let's actually try using our street address class now. So here in the main.cpp, I'll include street address.h. Let's declare a variable of type street address. So maybe I'll say, what did I call this? Street address. We'll say street. Let's give this a name. Maybe street address 1. So maybe I'll say SA1. Now, because I didn't write setter and getter functions, I said before that I would just use the constructors. So if I want to invoke this constructor, I need to, inside of these parentheses, I need to pass an int that will be the house number, string 1 that will be the street, string 2 will be city, state, and then postal code. So I'm just gonna make up an address here. So maybe I'll say maybe the maybe the house number is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Streets, maybe I'll say I'm gonna go to his code and see what kind of a example that he wrote. One moment. Yeah, I'm just gonna use the example that he made, just because I'm not good at coming up with an example of my own. So you can make up your own address, but
Okay. So we need to make up our own address?
Just for the sake of testing purposes, yeah.
Okay.
You could use your own address if you want, or just make one up. Or you can use the one that Professor Amir decided to make. Now, you might see this yet. We didn't define person class yet, but we will later. I'm going to take this too. Why not? So I'll say street address SA2. So do you understand what these two lines of code are doing? It's declaring a variable called SA1 that's a type street address. And it's taking these variables and setting its private members equal to them. So we have, so this 1, 2, 3, 4 is being passed as I, and it's setting house number equal to I. This variable, oops. This variable called Westover Road and E, it's being passed as S1, and setting street equal to S1. Cedar Rapids, that's our city. She's being passed as S2, city. Iowa is our state. That's being passed as S3. And the postal code, we just decided to call that a string, right? That's why it has double quotes. We set postal code equal to that. Let's actually try the print function to see if it works. Or does anyone need more time there? Are you still typing this down?
Yeah, because the address is kind of long. It's hard for me to see. Do you think you could like copy and paste at least the address, like so this way I could quickly put it in if that's okay?
Oh, should I email these 2 lines to everyone?
I think that'd be a lot faster, especially if it's for testing.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. I'll email these to these 2 lines to everyone. Okay. Okay. Okay, I just sent the email with these 2 lines. Just copy paste it into your code blocks. Yeah, Jose Garcia says, for testing, that would be good. For submission, we may want to change it. Yeah, you'd want to change it so that Professor Amir knows that we're not just copy pasting. And we understand how the code works. Valerie Mora,
Thank you. Yeah, I got it.
Perfect. So just for the sake of testing, I just want to see if the print function works. So I'll say SA1, because that's what I call this variable, and I'll use the dot operator to call the print function. I can do the same for SA2 as well. And if these print functions work as intended, we would see house number, it'll say the house number, it'll say street, it'll say the street, so on and so forth. Let's try it. Yep, it works. Oh, I think it would be nice if I put an end line after that so that you see a space. Oh. Okay, maybe I'll put another end line here. So maybe it looks a little nicer. Okay, that looks nicer. Okay, so we got that. Now that we know that this class works, you can delete these 2 lines.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How do you fix the no declaration matches again? For street address, it says it's not declared. Like what happened on the lab. Like, so this way I don't share the screen and waste time. Where do I fix that?
And go ahead and share your screen. I'm not quite sure what you mean. I'll stop my share real fast. No declaration matches street address. Did you spell street address wrong?
Did I?
Can I see it? Oh wait, there it is.
Did I forget to put street address over here?
That looks like it's spelled right. Can I see your street address.h?
Oh yeah. Oh, did I forget to do that again? Yeah, I did.
Forget to do what?
To declare it, but street address.
Oh wait, yeah, you're missing your if and def stuff. Oh wait. No, you don't need that.
Oh.
Okay, so can you scroll up?
Yeah, it's all the way up.
You have it. It says if and def street address, and then no declaration matches. It's on line
4.
That's your default constructor. Do you have a function prototype for your default constructor? Can I see your street address .cpp?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Wait, no, you have it. Yeah, you have the definition for your default constructor. So what's up with that? No declaration matches. Street address. Oh, hold on. No declaration.
The S in street address is lowercase.
I'm sorry. What part are you talking about?
Line 4.
And you're saying it's supposed to be upper. Oh.
Yeah, it's a
Oh, wait.
class. It has to be capitalized. Yeah.
No, wait. I see it.
Wait.
It's on line 2. Do you see? On line 2, when you included street address, the S is supposed to be lowercase, not uppercase. Or wait, is it?
Oh,
wait. No, wait.
Pretty sure it's supposed to be capital. Because that's the object name.
Oh wait, no, it's not.
The file has a capital S, so you may want to have a capital S in declarations too. Like, you see the file name is a capital S in street address?
Yeah. Can I see your street address.h again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I don't know what to say, guys. I don't see her error. Do you guys see it? No declaration matches. Yeah, I don't know what to say, guys. I don't see her error.
Does capitalizing S in street address work?
Right there in your you don't have the prototype for the default constructor of street address. That's your problem.
Okay, so
right there. Go to your class and under public.
Okay.
Make a new line. Right on that line, you should say street address, open close parentheses, and then semicolon.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you were missing the function prototype for your default constructor.
Okay, we got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, go ahead and all right, perfect. Okay, so this is okay. So like I was saying before, this is all the code that you need for your street address. Now it's time to start. Now it's time to start doing our person.h and our person.cpp. So I'll put this here. I'll put this here. So to do this again, we need to. I'm gonna here in my person.h, I'm going to include iOS. I can hear someone not muted. I'm going to put using name space standard, and then I'm gonna do the if and def thing again. So I'm gonna say if and def. This is gonna be person underscore h, and then define person underscore h, and then and if inside of these lines, I'm going to have my header file for my person class. So let's look at the email just one more time. So Amir said the person class only requires 2 private members. One is going to be called a string name and then a street address called address. I'm just going to copy this. I need to declare the class first, right? So class person. Inside of here, I will say public, private, and I'll paste it here. Now, one thing I need to change is because since we made street address lowercase, I have to make this S a lowercase. That's the only thing I need to change. And then, oh, you know what? I actually forgot something very important. Since this person.h class needs to use the street address class, I need to include the street address.h into this person.h. So right here, I'm going to say include street address.h. There we go. All right, so now that this is defined, I'm gonna do the same thing that we've been doing before, and I'm actually not going to make setter and getter function for these. I'm just gonna write a constructor that accepts all 5, if that's cool with you guys. So the same thing we did for the street address, we're going to need a default constructor, a parameter constructor, and for the sake of debugging, let's also add a print function. So right here under public, I'll say default constructor. And you know how to make the prototype for a default constructor. You just say the name and then open close parentheses, right? So person. For the parameter constructor, I'll say person again. But inside of these parentheses, I should have variables for each of the private members. So because the first private member is a string name, I'm going to say string here, comma. And since the second private variable is a street address, I will make that the type of the other variable, right? Now, do you see what we're doing here? Because we defined the street address class, we can use this as a variable now. Like street address is a valid variable, just as it's a valid data type is the same way string or int is a valid data type, right? Do you notice that? Lastly, we need a print function. So say print, and of course, this needs to be a type void, right? So let's start writing our person.cpp. So obviously, we're going to need to include our person.h. We also need to include IOStream when using namespace standard. So IOStream using namespace standard. Okay, so
my person.h isn't showing up when I try to type it into person.cpp.
Did you spell it correctly?
I think so.
Do you want to share your screen again?
Yeah, I actually had that problem.
Did you I know you're using code blocks. Did you add your classes the way that we were discussing it before using that little wizard thing?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because I was talking to Professor Amir about it, and he just told me that if it doesn't work, that I should just make a new project, and that solves my problem.
Okay, so because you said bye, Aaron Massey. Don't worry, you can see this recording later. So because you made person capitalized, you should make it capitalized. So
okay.
Make the P uppercase. There you go.
Okay, there we go. Okay, I thought I would have to redo it.
Don't forget to put that other double quote.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, perfect. I'll share my screen again. So inside here, let's write the definitions of these three functions. All right, professor, since P is capitalizing person with H, does it need to be in the include? Since P is capitalizing person. Oh, yeah, you're right. I actually had the same problem that Valley Moore had. This needs to be uppercase. Thanks for catching that, Brandon Vasquez. Okay. Now we can start writing the definitions of these. I will take this. I'm gonna go a little bit fast here. Because we already kind of know the process. We've been it's the same process as we did before in the streetaddress.cpp. Just put these, and as always, we need the scope resolution operator as well. So person, colon, copy that, paste that there. Okay. Why is this? Oh, I forgot to say void. My bad. Void. There we go. So in here, we need to set the string name and street address to some blank variables. So maybe name equals empty string, right? And for the street address, maybe we'll say let's declare a street address maybe call it temp, like that. And because we didn't pass any variables in the temp, this street address invokes the default constructor for street address and sets it equal to these. So after that, we'll set address equal to temp, and that should be okay. Okay. For this function, for this definition here, I'll call this string s, and I'll call this street address sa, just because, and I'll set name equal to s, and I'll set street address, and I'll set address equal to sa. Next is the print function. So maybe I'll see out. I'll say name, and then I'll say the name and the line. And then after that, why are you giving me trouble? Oh, I forgot to put the L in end line. Then I don't need to say the contents of address again when I can simply call it its when I can just call its print function. So here's what I want us to do just to save a little bit of time. Let's say address dot print, like that. And I believe that will work. So now we have definitions for each of these functions. I think we're ready to finish writing our main.cpp, assuming this works, of course. So this is the code you need for person.h. This is the code you need for person.cpp. Okay. We had, so back in our main.cpp, we had these 2 lines here for debugging purposes. I'll just comment those out. We don't really need those anymore because we know it works. So next thing we have to do is see if our person class works. So since person requires a name and an address, we already have 2 addresses here. Let's declare 2 names. So maybe I'll say string name 1 equals, put any name you want in here. Maybe I'll say Bob Jones. And declare another string variable and call it name2. And I guess for name2, I'll just say Jane Doe. You want to put Mr. Bagel? All right, we'll put Mr. Bagel. Why not? Okay, so we have street addresses and we got names, and we just need to call the constructor for person and then pass these variables into it, and then we'll see if it works. So let's declare a brand new variable that's of type person. Maybe we'll call you person1. Now, because I didn't write setter and getter functions because I'm lazy, we have to use the constructor. So inside of these open close parent, oh, I forgot to include person.h, my bad. Include person.h first before doing anything. So now, okay, now it works. So like I was saying before, inside of these open close parentheses, we need to pass 2 variables. The first one needs to be a string. The second one needs to be a street address. And we already declared them here. So maybe person1, we'll pass name1 into it. And we'll pass SA1 into it as well. Declare another person, call them person2, pass name. Oh, I did not mean to do that. I accidentally ran it. Pass name2 to it, pass SA2 into it. Now, assuming that these variables are loaded into those variables, let's call their print functions and see if it works. So I'll say person1.print and then person2.print. And so here's what I have for the main.cpp. This is just code to test if it works. If it does work, this will output Bob Jones and then these 5 things. And then this line of code will output Mr. Bagel and then these 5 things. Let's see if it works. Yep, it works. So for those of you that's watching in the recording, this is the code that you need for the main, not CPP. This is the code that you need for person.h. This is the code that you need for person.cpp. Okay. This is the code that you need for streetaddress.h. And this is the code that you need for streetaddress.cpp. So we finished question 2 already. All right. Make sure you change these variables to something different so that Professor Amir knows that we didn't just copy.
Actually, can you just look at mine like again? Just this.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay, so I just feel bad about it.
That's what the purpose of this lab meeting is for. So I'm completely fine with that. Okay, so it looks like error declaration of person outside of class is not permitted. Okay, this is line 5. Okay, your problem with line 5 is that you put a semicolon there when there shouldn't be. All right, let's see what the other error is. Actually, that should clear the other error too. Try running it again. Okay, let's see what this says. Unexpected ID before. Oh, on line 7, you put a colon there when it should be an equal sign. All right, run it again and let's see. Oh. Oh. That error should have gone away. Like. Oh, wait. Yeah, your error is with line 8. Let me look at my code very quickly. Okay. This is your personal CPP. It's not street address equals temp. It's just street address temp. So just delete the equal sign. All right, that should be good. Run it again. Nice, it works. The reason why I had to say street address temp is because I needed to make I needed to invoke the default constructor, and that's why. But your code works now. Valerie Mora, you're muted, so I don't know if you realize that.
Oof. I have a question. Do you think it'd be okay if I use these names?
Yeah, that's fine.
Even if they were like characters?
Yeah, I think that's fine. I don't think Professor Emil will protest against that. But be sure to change the address variables.
Well, yeah, of course, because okay. Also, I need help with problem 3, if that's okay, since we got it all done.
Sure.
Okay.
I'll help you with 3.
I'll wait for anyone else that needs help.
I'll hold on.
Okay. Let me just stop my share.
All right. You wanted help with problem 3?
Yeah.
Problem 3. Okay. Do you want to share your screen or?
Yeah.
And then I'll just pull up the code that I had for question 3 on my other monitor. Wait, where was it? What was question 3 about again? I forgot.
It was about the virtual. It was about the.
Oh yeah, the question and fill-in question. What kind of problem did you have with it?
I actually need help with completing fill-in question, if that's okay. I got everything else done.
Okay, yeah, we'll do that. Oh, that's why I couldn't find it. I called it question. Okay. So what kind of errors did you have?
Actually, I kind of, because I was trying to, look through the videos and I couldn't see where you started filling question.
Oh, you just need the fill-in question.cpp.
Yes, I think I'll stop sharing my screen then.
Oh, okay. Did you need the header file too?
No, I just need a CPP file.
Okay.
And then I want to test it before I go, of course.
Let me delete these comments so that it's a little shorter. You can see my screen, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll delete these comments so that it's a little bit better. Make sure you include locale into your fill-in question.cpp.
Oh, wait. I did complete it, but I do have errors. I'm sorry about that. I forgot.
Okay.
Because I was looking at my old project, the one that I had trouble with, and Professor Mir had me create a new one.
Uh-huh.
So I was looking at the old one.
Oh,
That's why it was incomplete. I'll share my screen now.
Right, I'll stop my share then. I'll go ahead and share yours.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Let me just close this. Okay.
Okay. So what am I looking at? This is fill-in question.cpp, right?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, wait a second. Okay, so you have that. Why in your set text function, why do you have insert and pushback? What's the purpose of those?
I'm trying to push. I'm not sure. I thought it would have inserted a text, but I think I might have been wrong on that.
Okay, well, what the code needed to accomplish is that you need to set text equal to. Okay, actually, you know what? On second thought, that might actually work. You just need another line of code.
Okay.
Right underneath line 10, why don't you say text equals question text?
Question text equals what?
Text equals question text.
Okay.
Now I made inserts on. Wait. If I recall correctly, insert takes two arguments. One is the starting position, the other one is the thing that you're inserting. So how come you're adding an underscore to the beginning? So because your first parameter is 0, you're saying I want to insert this underscore in the beginning of the string. Why are you setting it in the beginning of the string? It should end, right?
Right.
So,
actually, can I see your code? I might have confused some things.
That's okay. I'll just tell you what to write.
Okay.
For that entire thing, why don't you just delete lines 9, 10, and 11?
Okay.
And you simply need to say text equals question text plus equals and inside of double quotes space underscore period, and make sure you have a semicolon at the end of that.
Right.
That's the only thing that we were trying to do. Now you were trying to do something different with insert plus pushback, but all the thing that you were trying to do could be accomplished with just one line of code. So that's fine.
Okay.
Don't run it yet. You still have problems with your
Right.
fill-in question check answer. So let me look at your code a little bit and try to see what you're trying to do.
Okay.
So you have a string answer called answer. Okay. So you're saying in this for loop, we're iterating through the entire string of answer, and we're saying you said that if you see a space, erase it.
Huh? Sorry about that.
But the erase function requires 2 parameters.
Right.
They need to be separated by a comma. So put a comma between so inside of the
period.
no. Inside of the open close parentheses after erase, you need to put a comma between the one and the other thing.
Oh, I and 1.
Yeah.
Okay, let me go fix that real quick.
Because the erase function requires 2 parameters, right? And they need to be separated by commas. So that looks okay. And then you said if it's not a space, convert it to 2 lower. Okay, here's another thing that we need to fix. The 2 lower function belongs to the locale library. So at the very top, you need to say include locale.
Okay. Hello. How do you spell that?
Locale.
Oh, just local.
Locale with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go. Now, okay, so far so good. But why? Okay. Actually.
Why?
Okay. So far that looks fine. That's what else? You also said else. Okay. And then you have another for loop that's iterating through response, right?
Yeah, right.
You said if the character we're looking at as a space, we'll delete that. I'm sorry, let me look at my code real fast. If it's space, we'll erase that space. But if it's not a space and it's just a normal character, if it's not a space and it's a normal character, we'll just okay. I actually noticed something else. That's also a problem. So the 2 lower function actually requires 2 parameters. One is going to be the first one is going to be the character that you're trying to lower, right? The other one needs to be a locale variable. And I actually don't understand why it needs it, but I had to include it anyways. So here's what I'd like you to do. On line 15, make a new line.
Okay.
Say locale. And then space. You can name this locale variable anything you want. I just decided to call it LOC. So why don't you do that too? Yeah, that's great. So you just declared a variable called LOC that's of type locale. That's fine. Don't forget to put a semicolon.
Right.
Okay. Now, on line 22, right after your @I, put a comma and say LOC.
After
LOC. And then put the semicolon back. And then you should also do the same on line 32 as well.
all right. 32.
After the
Right.
I, put a comma,
Yeah.
say LOC. And then do you have anything underneath line 38? No.
No.
Okay. That's another issue. After you get these, you have to compare the two strings, and if they're equal to each other, you want to return true, right? But if they're not equal, you want to return false. So right underneath, actually, between lines 34 and 38, maybe write this on line 35, you want to say if and then inside of open close parentheses, you say if A and S, because that's what you call it, ants, equals because this is a comparison. Right?
All right.
Response. Return true. Oh no, not inside that.
All right.
Return true.
Am I supposed to put squiggly brackets?
Well, you can get away with not putting squiggly brackets if it's a one-liner like this.
Okay.
And then make a new line and say else.
Okay.
You don't need a conditional for the else.
Okay.
So get rid of this.
So return false.
Return false.
Okay.
And then yeah, let's try running it and see if it works. I think it'll work.
Okay.
All right,
Let's see.
2. Okay.
Okay, how do I? Okay, this is how I pull it up. So this way.
Too few arguments.
Where did I do that?
Well, what? Where'd you go?
I don't
To the
know.
locale library. What?
I went to the. I didn't know they could do that. Okay, let me just get out of there.
So bool alpha is not a function. So why don't you delete those open close parentheses?
Okay.
What does line 14 say? Oh, on line 14, you accidentally put a colon instead of a semicolon.
Oh boy. Okay.
What else? Actually, run it again and see if it works. Okay, there's a lot less errors this time.
Yeah.
Let's see what this one says. Hover over that so we can. Has no member named response, but there. iStream. Valerie Moore, I'm going to send you something.
Okay.
I'm going to send you the code I have for my main.cp. Hold on, I didn't send it yet. Well, I'm just gonna send you the int main.
Okay.
All right, I sent it.
Did you send in the comment box? Oh, okay, right here.
So, I just sent you the int main function. So just keep all your includes and you're using things in space standard. Just copy the int main.
Okay. So this is for main?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So
All right. Probably should. Wait, I gotta replace. Hold on. Let me go back for a second.
okay.
Let me just take that, because otherwise I'm just gonna erase the entire. Okay.
Yeah, let's
Just,
highlight lines 12 to 29. Press tab.
okay, tap it. Okay.
Yeah, tab. There you go.
Okay.
So run it and let's see what other problems we got.
Okay.
All right. This one. All right. This is line 12 of what? Oh, this. Oh, you put a semicolon there when there shouldn't be on line 12.
Okay.
All right, run it again. Let's see what other errors there is. Okay. What's this one? Line 10. Oh. Actually, let me look at that. I think this is your fill-in question.h, right?
Right.
Error expected class name before semicolon. Go to the very first error.
Right here.
I hover your cursor over it so I can read it. And
Oh, wait.
hover over, yeah, right there.
No, I don't think it hovers. I think that's the full thing.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Expected class name token before squiggly bracket. Fill in. That looks like it's correct.
Is it because I have this? Or
No, that semicolon needs to be there.
okay.
So you have class fill in question, public question. What other errors are there? Then expected primary expression before the equals. Oh, on that line, you accidentally separated the equal sign.
Yeah, okay.
Token.
Okay, well that was
Error for 13.
And then there's 13.
It says no declaration matches bool. Can I see your fill in question.h? Okay, here's another problem. It doesn't find it because you forgot to add the const keyword. So on line 13, right before the semicolon, say const.
Right.
Like that. Try it,
Okay.
try it again.
Okay.
Okay. All right, let's see what else. Error text was not declared in the scope. Click that. Well, it is defined though because we're including Question.h. Unless we misspelled it, can I see your... Wait, this is your fill-in question.h, right?
Yeah. No, it's my CPP.
Okay. Can I see your fill-in question.h then?
Mhm.
Okay. Can I see your question.h then?
Yeah. Oh, question.h. Yeah.
It has it because it's saying text was not declared in the scope, but it's saying text and answer isn't declared in the scope, but we're inheriting it.
Yeah.
Unless... Okay, I have a theory. Can I see your fill-in question.h again?
Yeah. Oh wait, that's not the H. Here we go.
Okay, that wasn't it. I thought for a second that you misspelled you had a lowercase instead of an uppercase, but that's not it. What could it be? Answer was not declared in this. Expected class name before squiggly bracket. That's strange because it looks fine. Like it looks to me like it's not detecting line 9 because we're saying that class fill in question is inheriting question. Oh, I see it. I see your problem. You're inheriting from question, but you forgot to include question.h.
Oh, so in fill-in question,
No, not in CPP. In your fill-in question.h, you need to include question.h.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, because you're inheriting it, and how can you inherit it if you didn't include it? Right? Since this is a file that you wrote, it needs to be in double quotes instead of ROMs. So you need to delete that.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Whoops. Okay.
That's why it wasn't detecting it. Okay.
Okay, just these two left.
Can I see it?
It says it's private within this context tag.
Okay, yeah, this is the problem that I was talking about before. Inheriting classes won't inherit private members unless you change the keyword private to protected. So go to your question.h. See that keyword private, change that to protected.
So what does protected mean in a sense?
Protected means it's still private. You can only access it through member functions, but classes that inherited it can still use it. So
I have no idea how to spell his name.
just put in anything, so it's just a wrong answer. All right.
Okay.
For this one, to test if it works, you know that the owner of Microsoft is Bill Gates, right? What
Yeah.
Instead of typing his name correctly, you should type his name with a bunch of uppercase and lowercase letters, and then with a bunch of spaces. Still type it correctly, but just with yeah. And if your thing works, it should still accept that as true. Terminate after call. Value is it okay if I just email you my function for check answer?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll email this to you as well. One
Okay,
second.
let me just
I
stop my
realize you and I are the last people in the...
Yeah.
That's fine. That's what the purpose of this is, so it's perfectly fine. All right, I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Actually, I think I sent it to you. Yeah, I sent it to you.
There we go. All right,
You want to share your screen again?
Yeah, let me just recopy my thing. Oh, maybe that's why.
Yeah, because here's the thing. Your code was a little different from mine in the respect that you, instead of making temporary variables where we construct the string, you were editing the response and the text and the answer strings
So
correctly.
is this for fill-in question H or CPP?
Fill in question.cpp.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh wait, I only gave you the only thing that I want you to change is the check answer
Oh, okay.
function. So replace your check answer function with mine.
Okay, I gotta find it.
It's the whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah. That is just the check answer function. So replace your code with mine. Well,
Okay.
I didn't want to have you just use my code because the way that you were doing it, it looked like it would work. And the only issue was that you were changing the variables directly, but I wanted to see if it still worked, but that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So delete your check answer function.
Where did I put it? I forgot. I can't.
Delete lines 13 through 40.
13 through 40. Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you accidentally added another closing semicolon or what's it called? Closing squiggly bracket. So, well, wait. Just scroll. Yeah, just scroll to the bottom. Can I see?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, maybe. Try running it. Maybe it'll work.
Okay.
Enter anything, and then type Bill Gates with a bunch of spaces in the uppercase and lowercase. Awesome, it works now.
Should I go through 13 to 40 and tab it just for consistency?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, don't tab the whole thing. Just
Okay.
tab lines 16, 17, and 18.
Okay.
Tab
Cool.
lines 22 and 23.
22, 23.
Yeah.
Hold
on. Tab lines 28 and 29.
Hold on. I hate when it does that. Okay.
And tab lines 33 and 35. Just 33 and 35.
Okay.
Oh, you accidentally. Oh.
Yeah, I accidentally spaced it.
Just put your insertion. Yeah. And then that should be all right. Run it again just to be sure.
Okay.
Yeah, true. Okay, perfect. You can go ahead and stop your share now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Actually, before you go, I was gonna ask this to the class, but we did go over time. But I was gonna ask everyone if we still needed a meeting time for Thursday. What do you think?
I don't know, honestly.
All right, it's fine. I'll just ask everyone in an email.
Yeah, okay.
Right, well,
thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you for coming, Riley.
Of course.
All right.
All right, have a nice night.
And I'll put this video up on YouTube later. All right.
Bye.
Bye.